Hi guys, this is Max from HighOnCameras, where we get on cameras every day. Anyway, I wanted to do a quick vlog, not a vlog, just quick, vlog about why I returned my Sony A7R II and kept the Sony A7S II. Initially, I was going to keep both phones. Now, because Sony comes out with new cameras every year, and A7R II has been out. A7R III is going to come out probably next year, pretty soon, and I don't really want to, keep both cameras, so I returned it. First of all, A7R II is an excellent camera, 42 megapixel, takes great, awesome photos. I really wanted to keep it. Also, you got the full frame and crop mode. Now, one of the big problems with the full frame mode is that it has pixel binning, and low light performance is actually worse than in its own crop mode. The low light performance of full frame is worse than cheaper cameras like Sony A6300 or A6500. Alright, so most of the time you're going to shoot in good lighting. It's not going to matter, but I want to shoot in full frame in low light. Alright, and that's one of the problems. So you're going to have to stick with super 35mm mode for videos. So that's one of the reasons I kept the A7S II. One of the advantages with the Sony A7S II is that it is only a 12 megapixel camera, about the same sensor. It's the same sensor size, full frame sensor, but because it's 12 megapixels, so each pixel picks up more light. That's why it's such a better performer than the A7R II. And the A7S II is touted as the best low light camera pretty much in the world. It beats even way expensive cameras like the Red, Sony FS5, FS7, you name it. This thing beats anything. And if I wanted crop mode, I already get that with the A6300. Also, another good thing with the A7R II that I was going to keep it was the autofocus. Autofocus is so much better on A7R II. You can also adjust the sensitivity of the autofocus settings. But it's actually, I have the Sony A6300, which has the same features. Actually, it has more face points. So if I needed good autofocus, such as macro zooming out shots where I need good fast autofocus, then I'll just use my other A6300. Alright, so I would rather really have one dedicated camera that I can take anywhere, especially in low light. So that's why I kept it. But if you're gonna buy one camera, you'll definitely, I would recommend the A7R II because of the autofocus, the full frame crop mode. You can use all of your lenses, 42 megapixels. For most of you, the A7R II is gonna be, all around performer, all American camera. All right, no, it's made in Japan, all Japanese camera, whatever. But I really dig the A7S II. Like I said, the low light performance, and I own too many cameras probably. So I have two Sony A6300, which I can use for most of the Sony A7R II features are on the Sony A6300. All right. The only thing missing from A6300 is the 5-axis stabilization and full frame mode, which will come. The 5-axis coming with the Sony A6500, so get that if you guys are interested. That's a great camera. Also, full frame mode, obviously can't get it with A6300, so that's why I have the Sony A7S II. And full frame, the reason why you buy a full frame camera is so you can use full frame. But the real problem with Sony A7R II, if you're going to shoot in any kind of super low light, you can't, even just regular low light, anything above 3200 ISO, you get a ton of noise in full frame. So you have to, resort to using super 35mm mode, which beats the purpose of getting a full frame. All right, so it really depends on what kind of, videos you're making, how you use a camera. I know a lot of you guys who let's say make indie films, you guys don't actually use autofocus ever. You just use manual focus. So the autofocus feature on the A7R II is pretty much useless for you. All right, or maybe you're a vlogger. You need autofocus everywhere. You're shooting at yourself. The A7S II has decent autofocus. I'm just saying that you can't adjust the settings to make it faster. I'm sure they could do it with maybe a firmware update. I don't know, but that's the main reason I've returned it already. The A7R II, keeping the A7S II. As far as crop mode, a lot of the crop you can actually also do with clear zoom. I'm actually crop moding this with a 19mm Sigma lens, which is actually made for APS-C. I got it on a 1.2x clear zoom right now, and it looks fine, So it really depends what you need, but if you need an all-around camera, you don't have any other camera, then I would get the A7R II. It's such a better overall performance, especially if you need the photography powers, because this one's only 12 megapixels. You'll be able to really zoom in. I really love the A7R II, don't get me wrong. I only returned it because my focus is mainly on videos, and the only problem I've had in the past was with low light. In low light, I either don't make videos or my videos look noisy. That's one thing it can solve. So think of it in terms of like this. If you go to a hot weather, you can take your clothes off until you're naked, and then you can no longer take your clothes off. Like let's say in Africa or Thailand, it's still hot and your body will be hot. But in cold weather, you can wear as much clothes. You can go to Alaska, you can go to the North Pole, and you can still stay warm. So in that terms, the A7R II is like a hot weather camera, where after a certain point, even if you use a speed booster, even if you use the fastest lens with f1.2 0.98, you're not going to be able to match performance of the A7S II. Simply the sensor in low light just kills the A7S II. So in that terms, the A7S II is almost like a cold weather camera, where it can really it can make complete dark into like daylight. I'm not gonna use it for that, but there are situations where ISO something like 12,800 will become very useful, and I can actually make a clean video instead of this dark or noisy video. That's what I want it for. On also the full frame mode, I really like the bokeh. You get a lot more bokeh with the full frame, just that full frame look, and also you can use slower lenses, with like f3.5 on a full frame will still, to match that on a APS-C, it would be more like f2.8, 2.5. Anyway, I just wanted to share some of my knowledge, because I've been playing with both of these phones for last 2-3 weeks, just every day, just trying a ton of different lenses. Also, I do have unboxing of this lens and quick test of it, so check that out if you guys are interested in this lens. But I really dig this combo, A7S II. I just gave up everything. I don't need the 42 megapixels. I don't need the fastest autofocus. I really don't need a crop mode, because I just need the full frame, awesome low light performance. Alright, that's pretty much it. And as always, stay on cameras.
Click here to subscribe. 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 Subscribe.